So welcome, Friday morning, summer. We're still here in the summer, although it's my morning poems have been about feeling fall, which has been a little frightening. It's just kind of like the end of August always brings us back into the reality of that this is not lasting forever, especially in New England. So we're going to just take advantage of the fact that we're still in summer. I said, we still have our long days, we still have our flowers, the leaves are still on the trees. So it's just an indication that we're moving in another direction, but the light tells us otherwise. So it's just little clues, and we want to stay close to the energy of the earth, especially right now. We need a lot of grounding, if you haven't noticed how much grounding we actually need to do. I find myself lifting up, being a little what we call in the yogic world vata, a little airy. So I ground down. I take a moment to just really ground into the earth, a little more kapha as it is. So come in your seated pose, index finger and thumb together in Chi Mudra. We're going to balance ourselves and just really come into that inner landscape, closing your eyes. And just taking a nice deep breath, letting the breath move right down into the belly. And just feeling our way into the inner landscape. Letting the breath increase, so 4 long counts of the inhale in, and 4 long counts of the exhale out. Just letting go, letting go of whatever might have brought you here to the mat. Letting the rhythm of your body connect to the rhythm of the earth, and let the mind begin to settle into that space. When you feel your hips and your legs are connected to the earth, let your spine elongate up to the very top of your head. Create more space for the prana, for the breath. Begin to release some energy that can be released, any tension, anything that is bothering you at the moment, anything that's keeping you a little vata up in your head. Just settle into the practice, settle into the breath. And then let the breath go down into the belly, then let it go all the way up to the lungs, and then from there all the way up to the base of the neck. And I love to hold at the very top of the inhale. When you create this pause, it kind of resets your rhythm, resets the way in which you are breathing. And then exhale out from the throat, down into the lungs, and then again into the belly. So disrupting a normal pattern just allows us to open up to something that is a little something that is different. And it brings you back into the mystery of being in this body, at least it does for me. And then with your next exhale, allow your chin to come down to the chest as you breathe into the opening of the neck and the upper part of the back. You may feel some tensions here, so you just let go. Allow yourself to just feel an opening. And then release your hands from your thighs and bring them to the floor on either side of the hips. And inhale the arms all the way up into a seated sun breath. And turn the palms and exhale with your fingertips down and chin to the chest. And then the palms roll upward again, arms and gaze all the way up. Return the palms and exhale with your fingertips down and chin to the chest. 2 more times, palms roll all the way up as we bring in all the gifts of the summer morning, and then release, hands down to the earth. And then last time, inhale all the way up. Hands go to pray over your head, then down to the heart as you close your eyes for a moment and breathe into your own inner landscape. Set an intention for this day, for this practice. Could be for yourself, for someone else, could be for the state of the world, could be whatever it is that's on your mind. We set this prayer out into the universe. And to that intention, let's open up the eyes and release our hands. So we're actually going to start the class by rolling over and coming into table pose, fingerprints down, back of the palm, knuckles down. Just let your hips begin to circle all the way around. Let it be small, doesn't have to be a large circle, just allow yourself to tune inward, fingerprints down, back of the palm, knuckles down. So you're not coming onto the wrist. You're just allowing the front part of your hand to hold the energy, just engaging your arm. Just notice how that engages your arm. And then reverse the circle, small to begin with. Just feeling where your hips are, what's going on. And then release and come all the way back, knees underneath your hips. You're going to exhale into a cat. And then inhale, cow. Just move back and forth with your own breath. Exhale, cat. Whatever rhythm feels right to you, I'll call it out, but follow your own rhythm. Inhale, cow. Exhale into a cat. Notice how you're starting it, whether it's the tailbone, whether it's the head, the back, where are you starting the movement? Just breathe into where it feels organic for you to start the movement. Exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. Last time, exhale into a cat. And then inhale, cow. Just hold cow so we all catch up with one another. Taking a nice deep breath and let the right toes go onto the floor. And you're going to exhale, press the heel back behind you, and then inhale all the way up. And exhale, heel back, and inhale up. Fingerprints down, back of the palm, knuckles down. Exhale, back, inhale up. Just notice if your belly is kind of hanging low. Bring your belly up towards the lower part of the spine so that it's supporting the spine. Exhale back, inhale up, lift the leg, add the left arm up. If you feel so inclined, you're going to bend the knee and bring your left hand to the shoelace part of the foot and come into a gentle quad stretch. Doesn't have to be big. Nice deep breath. This is optional. Then release, come all the way back to pointer. Come all the way back down, knees out to the side, toes together. Roll back into the extended child. You want to do a little bit more with opening up your shoulders. Bring your hands to prayer and then over your head. You want to move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. So you get a little bit of more of an opening through the shoulders, your heart going down towards the earth. But take the lower part of your rib cage up so you bring your hips back to the wall behind you. Breathing in. So it's a very subtle, very small movement, but I find that it allows me to open my back. And then I can breathe more deeply into my back body with a nice deep breath. And then release and come all the way back into the table pose. This time it's the left foot going back. Exhale back and inhale up. Exhale back and inhale up. So just do this with a gentle breath, a breath of awareness. We're not trying to get anywhere, we're just looking for that breath to move through the body. Exhale back, inhale up. You want to feel your breath into the stretch. And last time, exhale back, inhale up. Toes towards the earth, you can stay right here. Right arm is going to reach. Option is bending at the left knee, shoelace part of the foot. Move the right head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. So you're opening the front body as you twist. Come into a quad stretch. Good, then release. Hands back to the pointer. And come into the table pose. Curl the toes under. This time, we're pressing hips to heel. So we're starting this practice. I just want you to breathe into your lower part of your back. So again, we're pressing hips to heel, toes onto the floor, hands solid onto the floor. You're ripping your fingers towards the wall in front of you with your mat. And then your hips in the opposite direction. You're going to keep that as you press into your toes, lift your knees, and come all the way up into a downward facing dog. First dog of the day, so we're going to walk the dog one heel up, one heel down. Nice deep breath. Come forward into plank. Now let your hips settle down here, keep it up. Good, then come back into a downward facing dog. One more time, come forward into plank. Move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. You'll feel like you're hugging your ankles into a block, imaginary block between your legs. Then come back into the downward facing dog. Walk your hands in, walk your feet in, or bend the knees and hop forward into Uttanasana. Arms reach all the way up. And we're going to come back to a standing Tadasana. Clasp your hands, palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale over to the left as we inhale all the way up, and then the right. Breathing in. Inhale up, exhale left. And then to the right. Want to breathe into the side body. You always want to do this practice with breath. Always with an ease of mind. We're looking for connection, not the competition with our body. We're looking for that deep connection. Come back to center, release your hands and come all the way back down. And take the head of the arm bone and rotate all the way around. And as you're doing this, just notice how open, how much more open your front body is and how you connect with the back body. Just rolling, breathing, and then bring the head of the arm bone up and back and hold this for a moment. Notice if your rib cage is going up, bring your rib cage in slightly. You'll find that lengthens the upper part of the back, and squeeze the head of the arm bone in the shoulder blades in towards one another, like you're holding a pencil right here. And then hold that and then soften it. Let there be a connection and then a softness to this as well. So it's organic energies. We have muscle energy, hugging in, and then organic energy. You want to connect in, then release a little bit. We don't need more tension in our body, but we do need connection. So keeping the tips of the shoulder blades in, let the arms lift all the way up from that place. Good. Then hands go to pray over your head, then down to the heart. And breathe. Good. So let's open wide onto the mat. So your feet are parallel to one another. If you have a block, bring your block in front. I love having a block in front, especially in the summer practice. So you're not struggling so much, but you're also learning how to really expand your body with the breath. So I've been working a lot with where your knees are in the position, in this position, It's easy to come out. I have hyperextending knees. It's very easy for me to do this. I have to work at not doing that. Feet onto the floor, the knees are soft. Take the top of the thighs back. And you see, as you're taking the top of the thighs back, I stay hip over knee over ankle, as opposed to letting my hip go way, way out here, blowing out my back of my knee. So it's a different kind of listening. Feet, soft knees, top of the thighs back, come to a flat back. Now here, rib cage can go down towards the earth. You just want to lift that up slightly. So belly in towards the spine, lift the rib cage up. Come to a place where you can feel the stretch in your body. Again, you want to play with it a little bit. Maybe soften the knees a little bit more. Maybe take the top of the thighs back and breathe in. So you always feel like something is moving in your body, even though we're holding the position. It's not static. Taking a nice deep breath here. Then putting your left hand onto the block, right hand onto the hip. Move the right hip of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. Keep the left thigh back. You're stacking your shoulders one on top of the other. Don't add the hand. Think open body here. Think head of the arm bone. Where am I moving that? Now bring the rib cage in, lengthen, and breathe. Good. So I'm going to add the hand, but in a different way. You're going to take the right hand down in front of you, stretch it over your head and towards the wall, where you're going to be parallel to the floor. Now breathe in, keeping the top thigh back. Good. Good. Then release that, come all the way back to center. Release everything. You can bring your head onto the block or something like that. Bring your knees soft, top of the thighs back. It's a wonderful summer stretch. Belly up towards the spine, and then up towards the heart, bringing the rib cage in. Nice deep breath. Then come halfway again. And let's come all the way back out just to shake our legs out, because it's a lot of work on the legs. Before we go to the other side, just shake it out. Breathe in. Good. Maybe just take a couple of hip rolls. Bring your feet mat width apart and circle your hips all the way in one direction and then the other. It's very easy to see how when my thighs come forward in these pants. It's interesting. I usually wear darker pants. Yeah. Okay, then come back to center. You can see a little bit here. When the thighs are back, you can see a little bit of a crease here. When it comes forward, you can see how this gets a little bit stretched. Thigh back. All right, so we're back to the center again. We're going to move the position so that I'm always looking at you, but feet parallel to one another. This time it's the right hand onto the block. I'm going to rotate, taking the left head of the arm bone up and back. Now again, power is in the feet, soft knees. Little toe out onto the floor, rib cage in, rotate. Nice deep breath, hold this. You're going to take the left arm all the way down and bring it over your head. And stretch. Good. And just from your fingers to your right hips, feel that line. From your left fingertips all the way to your right top of your thigh. Then release and come all the way back. Once again, bringing your head onto the block. Breathing in. This is a great restorative pose. Nice deep breath. With the head below the heart, it becomes an inversion as well. Good. Then inhale all the way halfway up. Again, just kind of check to see whether you're letting your hips go beyond your knees. Keep your torso in front, keeping the hips knees and ankles together. Now shift into your feet, hands onto your hips, and then inhale and come all the way back up. Good. Kind of heel toe all the way back to center and shake that out. All right. So I want to open the front hips a little bit more. You're going to take your block, bring it onto the floor. I am on the middle side of the block. So if this is too high for you, you have the lower side. I would suggest not going to the super high side. Press into your head, move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. Palms are going to go up towards the ceiling. You're going to start by bringing both knees close to your chest, just up towards the ceiling, so that you're balanced on the block. Let both legs go up towards the ceiling. Taking a nice deep breath, let's just take a nice stretch of opening up the legs, and then as you bring your legs closer in towards one another, feel like you're squeezing a ball in between the legs. And then it's working the midline. Legs go out, supine Upavista Konasana. Then you're bringing the legs in towards one another with that awareness of squeezing that ball in. Now with that same awareness, you're going to keep your right leg up and bring your left leg towards the floor. So you're stretching the top of your left hip, breathing in. I would take your arms overhead so you really feel like you're getting a really big, deep stretch here. Right leg is up, left heel is onto the floor. Now take your left heel and press it away from your fingers and press your fingers away from your heel. Nice deep breath. Just allow for this summer opening. Never feels this way in the winter, I can tell you that. Good, then release and come all the way back to center. Both legs straight out, and then switch your legs. Right heel is onto the floor, and you're breathing in. Now, two sides are the same. Press your right heel away from your fingers are still pressing away from your toes. It's a nice deep breath. You should be having a low back curve here. You want your rib cage to come in slightly. So you're really feeling the length through the back of your back. Through your back. Good. Then release and come all the way back. Both legs up. Bring your hands back by your side. Press into your head to move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. Then bring your left foot down and then your right foot. As we're on a supported bridge now. Setu Bandha. And again, move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and down. Let your palms go up towards the ceiling. That keeps your head of the arm bone in place. Feet parallel to one another. Inhale your hips up off of the block. And then drop your hips slightly so that you can open your heart a little bit more. Bring your heart up towards the ceiling and let that stretch your quad muscles. And then press your knees away from you. And then come all the way back onto the block and take a nice deep breath. Stretching the front body is never easy. And so you want to be very aware of what the stretch is doing to you. Now sometimes opening your heart in this way actually brings up emotional things as well. So it runs the full gamut from physical things to emotional things to maybe coming into the mind in a way that is restrictive. So notice what is going on with you. Feet onto the floor, you're going to lift your hips up off the block again. So this is stage one. So you have this feeling of this lift. Now drop the hips slightly and let your heart be begin to open. Let your heart move away from your hips and let your knees press away to come into a stronger, wider bridge. So building it with awareness, building it with breath. And again, let go of something as you're holding this. Just let go. Breathe into your heart chakra. And then release and come all the way back onto the block. Bring your knees into your chest. Good. And then let your knees lift up. This is a half shoulder stand. Very a pose that has a lot of therapeutic values and benefits. And just it allows your heart to not have to work so fast. It gives a reverse flow of blood, as you can imagine. Your legs just enjoy this reverse flow that we like to trick the body into just resetting itself, like we did with the breath when you're holding at the very top of the inhale. Good, then release and come all the way back down. Let your block release. Let it go off to the side. And this time, let your left foot go down, right knee into your chest. Just start by holding the knee into the chest. Just pulsing it in. Just exhale it in and inhale it away. Good. And then from here, move your hands so that it's either behind your thigh or way up by your foot, regardless of wherever you are. So let's assume it's by your thigh, back of your thigh. I want you to walk your hands up your foot, towards your foot. And then when you've come to as far as you can, just pulse your foot and your hands pulsing towards toes to head. Just giving a good hamstring stretch here. You want to stretch the belly of the hamstring. Make sure your feet are engaged, your muscles are hugging into the bone, and then stretch that muscle. Pressing in. Could be that you have the top of your foot and you're just pulsing that toes to head. Good. Then release. Bring the right leg all the way down. It may feel longer than your left, and then you're bringing your left knee in. And at first, we're just holding on to the shin or the top of the knee, and you're pulsing the knee into your chest. Just pulse it in. The nice deep breath. Hopefully you're able to keep your low back curve as much as possible. Even here. Good. And then you're going to lift your leg up and bring your hand to the back side of your thigh. And then slowly walk your hands all the way up to where it feels comfortable, that you can pull your whole leg in towards your thigh. Towards your head. Toes to head. Nice deep breath. No two sides are the same. Just notice if you're lifting your right thigh up off the floor, just gently. And again, with not a competition, but with breath, to move the thigh in towards toes to head. Move the thighs in. Good. And then release. Come all the way back down. Bring your knees into your chest. You're going to let your knees roll in one direction. Hands on top of the knees, and then reverse the direction. Good. And then come all the way back. Arms are out into a T position. You're just going to let your knees move from side to side. So they're moving to the left and the right's a little twist. Keep the head of the arm bone and the back of the head of the arm bone onto the floor. Just a gentle twist. Again, breathing into the stretch. We're not getting anywhere. We're feeling our way into a deeper part of your body. Then roll to the right side and come all the way back up into a seated pose. Good. Baddha Konasana, feet are together. Taking a nice deep breath. And you want your knees to flutter. Because it is a summer practice, I'll give you some options. If you have more room to let your knees go out to the side, you're going to bring your block in between your legs, your feet. So you're hugging in. This may not be for you, this may not be where you want to go, but it's an option. Good, and then you can move the block to the side so that it's a little wider. And again, just knowing where you are, you're going to lift up through the spine. Good, and then one more direction. Any one of them or none of them. Just hugging in. Good, just getting your hips to open a little bit more. Lift up through the spine at the same time. Good, I'm holding on so that I'm bringing my torso forward instead of allowing my back to round, which it might do in this position, because it's a little bit off balancing. Good, nice deep breath. Good, then release, bring that back. Bring your legs together, we're gonna come into Narvasana, the boat. So your toes are spread, lifting all the way up. And you want that the back curve, low back curve, lifting up. You don't want to be rounding here. You want to lift all the way up. And just kind of breathe your way into that straight spine with the right leg lifting up and then coming down, and then the left leg lifting up and coming down. One more time, right leg and left. You can come back to center and release your arms, keeping your knees bent or straightening them if that works for you into more of the full expression of Narvasana, the boat. Then release and come all the way back. Find your balance. Bring your hands to your big toes and lift up through the spine. This may be where you are, finding the balance with your hips on. One leg up and then the other in Upaya Padangustasana. It's a nice deep breath. Again, just breathing your way into the stretch and the opening, inviting that summer breeze. Toes to hand, hands to toes. I'm still hugging that midline. Good, then release and come all the way back to center. All right, so let's come into a kneeling pose. Good, toes are curled under into Ustrasana, the camel pose. So here, you want to keep a low back curve. Bring your hand to your front and to your back. One hand on your belly, one hand on the low back. Just notice the relationship. You can bend at the hips slightly. Good. Engage the belly towards the low back. Bring the rib cage up, hands onto your hips. Move the arm bone up toward the ear and back. Keep a soft hip. Instead of stretching out, engage the front body first. Head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. And you're hugging that pencil into the tips of the shoulder blades. Allow the tips of the shoulder blades to bring your heart up. And then again, remember, we are not collapsing our head. That disengages us from the belly. You want to keep skull loop. You want to make it so that you have a cosmic pillow behind your head. And it's being held by that cosmic pillow. Then from there, head, heart open, lifting up. Bring your hands to your feet. Good. And breathe. Now, take the hips a little bit further. And breathe into the opening of the heart. Good. Then slowly begin the journey up. Last thing to move is the head. Come all the way onto a seated pose, just kind of breathing in. Let your hands, if this is an uncomfortable pose for you, you can take your block and sit on your block. But I want you to just close your eyes and just feel the effects of Ustrasana. because it really is quite a front body opener. And just kind of settle into that opening instead of just moving off to something else. I just want you to notice that energy. And how can you use that opening now in other ways? Can you hold on to that opening? Breathing in. Good. And then release. Coming all the way back up. If you were on the block, just take the block off. So come into fall and triangle now as we use that opening. Fingerprints down back of the palm, knuckles down. You're going to press hips to heel. Taking a nice deep breath, press into your toes. Keep your hands where they are. Lift all the way up into a downward facing dog. Left knee is going to come into your chest. Cross it over to your right. You're going to press your left hand onto the floor. You're going to lift your right hand onto your hip. And you're going to stretch your left foot away from you as you bring your arm up overhead into a fallen triangle. With a nice deep breath. Hips go up towards the ceiling. So they don't stay down here. They're lifting all the way. Remember that head of the arm bone up and the taking of the tips of the shoulder blade into your back. Nice deep breath. And then release and come all the way back to downward facing dog. Then bring your knees down into a table pose. Knees apart, roll back, extended child. And breathe. And feel that opening, that summer opening through your body. So we do these poses to help us play, connect, breathe. So when we think about the breath, I think about these COVID times when people are having a hard time breathing. We want to be able to know the full capacity of breath through our body. When we work this way with awareness, with breath awareness, moving the energy in, we have a stronger container for the breath. A better relationship with what prana can do, the miraculous things that prana can do through your body. Good. And then release and come all the way back into the table pose as we find our way back into downward dog, curling the toes under. I love the bowing Vajrasana, especially in the summer. I just feel like I'm a summer cat that's about ready to pounce. Just take in that summer sun, take in that summer atmosphere into that deeper breath. Pressing my hands away, just letting my spine grow like the plants outside. Hips back, toes down, lift your knees, come into downward facing dog again. This time we're bringing the right knee into your chest and you're crossing it through. So now you're holding with your right hand onto the floor, you're rotating the torso, left foot is onto the floor, right foot is slipping away from you as you are opening your torso up towards the ceiling. Fallen triangle with a nice deep breath. Good. One more breath. Fingerprints down back of the palm knuckles. Strong arms, strong hands. And then release. Come all the way back. This time downward dog and just walk the dog. One heel up, one heel down. May need to connect to your left hand as the right hand is going to feel very heavy. Good. Find a balance between the two. And then knees onto the floor. Into a table pose, knees out to the side, and roll back into the extended child, or elbows onto the floor and take your hands in prayer over your head. And take a nice deep breath. Fallen triangle. back to low Anjali Asana. Right foot is forward. Curl the left toes under. This is going to feel very simple in comparison. Exhale and come forward and inhale up. And just kind of notice how doing all these other poses before doing this has opened this pose for you. Exhale forward, inhale up. Nice deep breath. Exhale forward. Can you bring that summer practice in? We're going to hug into the midline and just stream into that midline, the blue sky, the green of the trees. Nice deep breath. Good. And this time as you exhale forward, left hand is onto the floor, right hand is onto the knee. Take the hand of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. I want you to curl your right toes under and lift your right knee up off the floor. Good. In a twist. Bring your left heel back to the wall behind you. Good. Move the hand onto the right hip. Move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. Let the arm go down towards the earth and then lift it all the way up so we can position the head of the arm bone a little better. Take the head of the arm bone back, feeling it as part of the back body. And a nice deep breath. Good. Then release and come all the way back. Let your back foot hop up towards your right foot. Bring your head down in a forward fold. This is Parvottanasana. Then bring your left foot up to meet the right. We're in Uttanasana, head down towards the earth. Arms swing out to the side as we inhale all the way up. Hands go to pray over your head. And then down to the heart. We're going to do the other side. All right. Am I going? Oops. Can you see me? Oh, something happened. Hold on. Oh, I think we're back. Here we go. All right, other side. Something happened. All right. We have the right foot forward and the left foot back. No, wait a minute. Left foot forward, right foot back. Low Anjali Asana to begin with. Left foot forward, right foot back. Right? Is that right? Opposite side? Okay, good. Exhale forward, sorry. Inhale up. Little technical difficulty there, threw me off. Exhale forward. And inhale up. Breathe into it. Exhale forward. Can you bring in ease? We open the body in a big open way. And this pose, I find that even though it's challenging, it's not as challenging as what we have done. So can you bring that to this? Can you bring that opening to this? Nice deep breath. And inhale up. Last time, exhale forward. Right hand onto the floor this time. You're going to rotate. Bring your hand onto the knee. Rotate through the torso. We're going to build this slowly. Then lift your right knee up off of the floor. Bring the right heel back. Then move your hand onto your hip, keeping your torso right where it is. Then let your left hand go down, up, over your head, and yeah, there you go. Bring the left head of the arm bone back. So it's part of your back body. That's what we want to do. We want the arm to be part of the back. You're engaging the serratus and the muscles of the back, trapezius. Nice deep breath. Then release, come all the way back and hop the right foot forward. So we're into a Parvottanasana. Head down towards the floor. Right hip forward, left hip back. Head down towards the floor. Good. And breathe. Then bring your right foot up to meet the left. We're in Uttanasana. Head down towards the floor. Arms swing out to the side as we inhale all the way up. Hands go to pray over your head. And then down to your heart. Quite a workout. Good. Coming back back to Padottanasana. And bring your block back to the center. Feet parallel to one another. This is a real summer practice for me. Exhale forward, hands onto the block, both hands onto the block. Extend through the spine, be careful of the rib cage that wants to drip down to the earth. I'm going to bring it up to the sky and then bend into the right knee and inhale up and then the left and inhale up. Exhale, bend into the right and inhale up. And do you have the right stretch? Do you have the right length between your two feet? Just kind of notice that. Sometimes it's more challenging when you're bringing the feet up a little bit closer. If you're very flexible like I am, it's a little more challenging to bring your feet closer to one another instead of being out here and losing all of the muscle energy. You want to keep that muscle energy strong. A few more times. Good. And then once again, we're releasing. Maybe your head will touch the block. Releasing down and breathing in. And again, moving the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back, and let the tips of your shoulder blades come together. So you really feel that the breath is in the back body. You can feel that long line, the center line, the midline, going right down your back. Now bend your knees right here. Take the top of the thighs back and breathe. Good. Then press with your hands onto the floor and then hands onto the block. Press into your feet to strengthen your legs, muscle to bone. Then bring your hands to your hips and come all the way back up. Excellent. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Back to center. So good, let's come onto the floor, all the way onto the floor. Dandasana. Good, inner spiral so that we're opening the low back. Take your left knee out to the side and then left foot up to the top of the right foot, the right thigh. Lift up through the torso and exhale forward. And then inhale up. Resist wanting to go somewhere. But just feel your whole body breathing your way forward like a summer breeze. Inhale up. It's not a winter storm. It's just a summer breeze. Exhale forward. And inhale up. You're going straight, so your hips and your shoulders are going straight towards your foot. The knee is out like you're in tree pose if you were standing. Exhale forward. And inhale up one last time. Exhale forward. Inhale up. You're going to turn your torso now. And I'm going to turn my hips slightly. So now I'm at an angle. My leg is still parallel to the long side of the mat. Hands in between. And I kind of have to readjust so that I want an even stretch through the lower part of my back. So hands here, and I'm stretching my hands forward. I have to really pin my right hip down. Take a nice deep breath. You don't want to go so far that you're losing the connection of the breath into the belly. Nice deep breath. Good, then walk your hands all the way back up, staying right here, but taking your right hand onto the inside of your right leg, taking your left hand to your heart, and you're rotating the torso, hand to leg, leg to hand, move the right head of the arm, and you're rotating the torso. Then add the left arm up, and you're just stretching the left arm towards the toes, breathing in. Just breathe into the stretch. Notice if your right side is collapsing too much. You want to keep your right side open so that it is stretching as well as your left. Then release and come all the way back to center. Good. Then bring both legs straight out. I'm just gonna bounce your legs. Janu Shirsasana, we'll do the other side. Inner rotate, take the right knee out. And to begin with, we're parallel, going right in line with our mat. Leg is parallel, our torso and hips are parallel, and you're just walking forward. Just taking a nice deep breath. And as you do this, just breathe into the lower part of the back. Bring your belly up towards your spine so you're lengthening the back, and begin to breathe into that length. Nice deep breath. It's about both awareness, opening. I find that when you bring grace into the practice, when you stop the competition and you just allowing the organic energy to move through your body, it gives you a whole different practice. Then come sideways with your torso. So now hips and torso are at an